All right, hello, hi, welcome to, I believe this is the 12th episode of BBall Pro Insider, and this is a very, very special episode. We have been on hiatus for a long time, but we're back, and this episode is called 10 Years of Los Lynx, and so what we're gonna do is get right into it, get back into the mix of things, but a lot has changed, and a lot of things have also stayed the same. So I was thinking about, 10 years ago, I won my first and only title in the WNBA with the Minnesota Lynx. And, what it takes to win at the highest level. What does it take when everybody's good? What makes you stand out as a team, as a player? And that's kind of what I want to get into today. So BBall Pro Insider will begin today. And in the spirit of equality, here's what I'll say about everything, and here's what I believe is important. These are some observations that transcend skill, it transcends gender, it transcends race. It's really a universal truth that I realize is so critical to understand when you're talking about the nature of sports and what separates sports from any other aspect in society. And also just, for the people who might have, some negative thoughts about what I'm saying, my championship validates everything that I'm saying. And I realize that now, today more than ever, how, that experience that I have, it really holds weight to my commentary going forward. So when you're watching the videos and I'm talking about the playoffs, understand that it's coming from an experiential standpoint. So unless you've been there, unless you really understand the nature of competing at the highest level as a professional athlete, you're not really going to understand where I'm speaking from. So just for, the naysayers or people who might be a little disgruntled about a woman speaking on men's basketball or commentating on men's basketball, just keep that in mind that I have a WNBA championship qualifies me to comment. So here's what I'll say. The playoffs, and you can put a blank before the playoffs. You can insert the WNBA, the NBA, you can insert the year. The playoffs is essentially very simple. The formula for winning is very simple, but it's also complex. It is about ingredients plus the recipe. That's really what it's about. And when I say ingredients plus the recipe, the ingredients are the talent. The talent is the team. The talent are the players. And there's just nothing you can do about that. You can't teach talent. And then the recipe are the strategies and the chemistry, how they connect, how the ingredients mix, and how well it is strategically placed. And that's the winning formula. And I know that sounds so simple, but when you hear me talking about the commentary, and this is all I'm going to talk about today, when you hear me moving forward, anytime you hear me say ingredients or anytime you hear me say recipe, I'm referring to ingredients, I'm referring to talent. And when I say recipe, I'm referring to strategies and chemistry, team chemistry. So those are two things to really look for when you're watching the games going forward in the NBA playoffs. Just really look at which teams have the ingredients and which teams have the recipe and which teams are using both to their advantage. All right, and finally, I want to conclude by kind of talking more personally, bringing it back to women's sports because this is 10 years of Los Lynx. And this was something that was on my mind for a long time, as I said, was reflecting on 10 years ago and where I was. And it led me to my teammates, as it always does in a sport like basketball. You're so reliant on your teammates. But there's one teammate that I want to talk about in particular from Los Lynx. And that player is Mayamoore. Now, even though the WNBA ratings are the highest that they've been in years, there still feels like something's missing. And I would say that when I retired, Mayamoore was hands down my favorite player to watch. And it didn't matter what was happening, what the circumstances were, any kind of tension that there might have been on me and my former team, because I left the Lynx. It was always such a pleasure to watch Maya. And I can't help but feel like something is missing from the game. Mayamoore, if you haven't heard, which I'm sure everyone has in the sports world, she decided to retire and leave the game early. And I just wanted to comment on what I believe Maya's significance is to the game. And tonight, the Lakers are playing, and it could be an elimination game. They're playing the Suns. So I think that it's really perfect timing to talk about this. It's something that I've thought about for a long time. And that is that, to me, Mayamoore is the women's basketball equivalent to LeBron James. And I say that, and I understand how heavy of a statement that is, but it's so true. And, you know, watching the season, the NBA season, without LeBron for majority of the season, it really felt like the way that I watched the WNBA without Mayamoore. And the reason why I say that, I'm talking about the skill set plus the stature. They're just unmatched, unparalleled in the game. There's no one who has the stature of Mayamoore and no one who has the skills to match that stature in the women's game, just like there's nobody who has the stature of LeBron James plus the skills at that level. And there's so many other elements to it, and it's just, you know, really comes down to all the practices that I had with her and traveling and just really understanding and seeing her in all circumstances and really realizing, wow, she's the women's game equivalent to LeBron James. Now, of course, this is all my opinion, so, you know, don't attack me. It's just, this is really what I see. And I want to take a step back too also and just comment on Mayamoore as a person, because I don't know LeBron James personally, but I do know Mayamoore very personally. And she was just someone who really helped me spiritually, you know, 10 years ago as a teammate. And I really, really, really appreciate her on so many levels. And I want to also be very clear, it was a very challenging relationship that we had. You know, we challenged each other. And even in that spiritual journey that she really helped me on, it was also very challenging. I challenged her, you know, and she challenged me. When I say, you know, we challenged each other, I mean in terms of, you know, there's a verse in the Bible, as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. And that's what I'm referring to. But also, you know, just to observe her and see her through adversity on the court, and just, you know, I always felt like it was really amazing how she dealt with adversity. And we were roommates on the road a lot of times, and, you know, it was just such a great teammate to have, such a great experience, and it makes me even respect her more, being the LeBron James of the women's game. So there's a little more to that I could expand on. I think, you know, I was kind of vague with what I was talking about, but really what it comes down to is just, you know, understanding that the good news is the ratings are up and the talent in the WNBA is only getting better. I mean, the players are so incredible. They just keep coming in, and there's too many to name how great they are. But again, you know, for me, without Maya, just like the NBA without LeBron, you're just always gonna feel like something's missing. I just personally haven't seen anyone to quite measure up to Mayamoore. All right, that concludes this episode, and I hope to see you in the next episode where I'll be reviewing the 2021 NBA playoffs. All of the things that we talked about in the previous episodes of BBall Pro Insider all come down to this moment. So let's get right into it. Let's go. See you on the next one.